In 2011, Ellen Wiss was volunteering in the classroom of teacher Vanessa Tussey at George Washington Carver Elementary School. She wanted to make a difference in these children's lives. They found out that this school had never had a book fair because the students did not have money to buy books. Ellen decided that money was not going to be a barrier for book ownership for these students anymore. The first book fair was conducted, allowing every student to choose 3 new books before summer vacation. Ellen and Vanessa began to learn that Carver was not the only elementary school in low-income neighborhoods that never had a book fair. In 2016, Dolores Barr Weaver agreed to sponsor book fairs in 5 additional Title I schools that had never had book fairs due to lack of resources. Read USA was born. This is the year I became involved as a volunteer. The following year, UUCJ held its first special collection to sponsor our neighborhood elementary school, Arlington Heights, so that students could choose 3 new books. We have sponsored a book fair for these students every year since. Even with a rough calculation, UUCJ has helped provide over 11,000 books to the children of our Arlington neighborhood. This chart shows the exponential growth of Read USA in the past 10 years. The U.S. Department of Education has found that 61% of low-income homes have 0 books in them, but not in Jacksonville. Through the generosity of donors all over Northeast Florida, including UUCJ, which is the only faith-based organization to sponsor a school, and this year with a partnership with Superintendent Dr. Diana Green, every Duval County public elementary school will participate in a Read USA book fair. The formula for Read USA is simple. Provide access to books, not hand-me-down books, new books in which children can take pride of ownership that include the latest titles to spark interest. Being able to choose the books themselves increases the children's excitement and appeals to their own interests. The book fairs are conducted the week before summer vacation, allowing students to have books for practice. Specially selected titles offering characters of diverse backgrounds allow students to see themselves in the books. In the book, The Literacy Crisis, False Claims, Real Solutions, research has found that the only behavior measure that correlates significantly with reading success is the number of books in the home. Read USA has provided over 250,000 books to 73,000 children since 2011, allowing students to build their own home libraries through book choice. In addition to the book fairs, Read USA has provided valuable resources for parents and teachers throughout the pandemic. This summer, they will continue with their highly successful teen tutoring program. During the summer of 2020, this program provided jobs to 88 youth as trained, supervised tutors for 200 younger students in under-resourced communities to provide a 6-week summer intensive reading program. Your donation to Read USA helps promote social justice, prepare students for the jobs of the future, and helps break the cycle of generational poverty. A $15 donation provides funds for 3 free books chosen by each student. Unfortunately, due to COVID, volunteers are not allowed in the school this year. But to the many of you who have volunteered in the past at a book fair, the joy the children show when they realize that they get to keep the books and they don't have to have money to pay for them is priceless. Read USA has grown from, as Desmond Tutu said, a little bit of good to bits of good that overwhelm the world. The growth of Read USA has required more hands-on leadership to take the organization to the next level. Newly appointed CEO, Council Member Terrence Freeman, joins us today via video to tell us his story.
Good morning, Universal Unitarian Church of Jacksonville. My name is Terrence Freeman, and I'm one of your Jacksonville City Councilmen. It is an honor today to speak to you and share a little bit about what I do in my role as CEO of Read USA. As I do at every meeting, I must start by recognizing my beautiful bride, Rachel Freeman, who was a former teacher at Arlington Heights Elementary. Yes, the school that you all helped sponsor. And thank you so much for your work. Rachel and I, we have 4 beautiful daughters, Evie, Taryn, Trisha, Lindy, all between the ages of 13 and 7. And so I am just so honored to share a little bit of my story. My story is simple. I grew up the son of a pastor, the son of a social worker, and a young man that grew up every day seeing his parents go out and serve. And so for me, at the completion of my professional baseball career, it was very simple for me. It was an easy decision for me to say that I want to go into a life of service. I never thought that being a politician would be a part of that. I thought it merely meant being just a coach and a teacher, which are all things that I currently do and love doing it. It reminds me of a story when I was 15, and my mom came to me and she said, "Terrence, I don't have enough money to pay for you to go to college. Your father's not making a lot as a preacher. Your brother's in college and he's taking up all of our money. You gotta find a way to help us." And friends, I'll tell you, it was at that early age that I learned that you have tough decisions to make. And the choice that you make truly can define your life. For me, I chose to study, and I chose to play every sport I could. And at the completion of my time in high school, I ended up earning a full academic scholarship to any historical black college in the country. And I got drafted to play professional baseball. And baseball changed my life. But what that taught me was that you can outwork your circumstances. And I'll never forget the scout that drafted me. He made a comment that I share with kids every day I can, and I'll share it with you. He said one thing. One, I got drafted because I hit a ball and I ran fast. And so at the end of the game, he came to me and he said, "Why did you run so fast?" And my response was, "Sir, why not?" Because my dad taught me everything you do it with everything you got. And he said, good things happen to good people, and you're a good person. And I want to encourage you with that as well. Good things happen to good people, and you all are good people. So after my 6 years of playing baseball came to an end due to an injury, I returned here to Jacksonville to rehab my shoulder from an injury and ended up fulfilling a promise that I made to my mom that I would complete my college studies. So I got a degree in education and I went on to teach and became a principal, an athletic director, but felt like there were still more kids that I could reach. And so in my efforts to reach more kids, I found out that the best way to do that is to impact policy. And that is what got me engaged in local government. And so I was fortunate to be appointed to be a city councilman in 2018 by Governor Rick Scott. But prior to that, I served as an assistant to a city council member and really learned the behind the scenes mechanisms of City Hall. How does a bill become law? And all of the good facets that really where the work is done. I was appointed, and then thanks to some of you, I hope, I was reelected on my own measure to be a city councilman at large. So life has just been moving really, really fast to me. But all of a sudden, another great opportunity comes, and that is to be the CEO of Read USA. And the mission of Read USA is simply this. We're trying to inspire kids from low-income communities to develop a love of reading. We want to implement a peer-to-peer mentoring program, a stringent summer program, all to fight the deficiency gaps in literacy. You see, you may not know this, but in the state of Florida, 67% of third graders, when they finish third grade, are reading below grade level proficiency. Here in Duval County, those numbers rise. They rival, but then they rise when we start thinking of 80% of students in our low income communities are reading below grade level proficiency, and 2/3 of them will end up incarcerated or on welfare. So at the end of our mission, the ultimate goal is we're going to break this intergenerational poverty. And so I thank you all for your support. We have several ways of implementing our mission. One of the ways I believe you all have helped us with is book fairs. We take the book fair to these schools that normally would not have a book fair if not for us. And we tell those kids, your choice, choose 3 books. Because we know research shows that when a student takes ownership of the book, they're more likely to read. And having a library in their home gives them a greater chance of increasing their literacy proficiency. Isn't that great news? And so we provide these book fairs, started with 81 schools, and now we're doing it for every school in Duval County. But on top of that, now we get peer-to-peer mentoring, where we take teens who may be struggling readers and we partner them with elementary students who are struggling readers, and we pay them. You can imagine all of the powerful things that are happening in that moment. Teen who was struggling, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, now is empowered because he becomes the mentor of a younger one. And now he becomes inspiration to that younger one that, hey, I can aspire to be a mentor one day. And he gets money to take home to contribute to the income of that family, buying food, helping pay bills. Our summer program, we know that summer slide is a major concern for kids in low economic communities. All of the gains that they had over the year can be lost simply in a 5-week period. So we have a program that we implement where we bring those teens in again with these students, 300 kids. We will hire teachers, licensed teachers, to facilitate it, and then we bring in Jacksonville University last year to measure the assessments. And guess what? Not only did our elementary students have gains at the end of that 5-week rigorous course, but so did our teen readers. Isn't that just a great thing? That is a win-win-win. A win for the kid, elementary student, a win for the high school student, and it's a win for Jacksonville. Man, there's so many great things happening, even more that are in my mind that I want to bring to creation over my time, but we can't do it without great supporters like you all and others in the city. And so I'll ask you, if you haven't already thought about supporting Read, to go to readusainc.com. Take a look at our website and find ways that you can contribute. If it's your time, if it's your treasure, or if it's just a great thought for Read, we truly appreciate it. My name is Terrence Freeman. I'm the CEO of Read. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my time with you today. Take care.
Well, I appreciate Terrence sending us that video. He's fairly new on the job, and I think he gave us a good idea of the growth of Read USA, the programs that they're supporting, and we are in a future of literacy success in Jacksonville. Before we end our service, I personally want to thank you, our congregation, UUCJ, for their generous support of Read USA over the years, as it has grown into a leading organization promoting literacy in Jacksonville.